So secondly, we'll talk about Substrate and Polkadot. From Polkadot came Substrate. I think you might have heard of Substrate, but some of you might not know what Substrate is. So Substrate is the framework in which you can use to build layer one blockchain. And those blockchain can run as parachains of Polkadot, or they can choose to run as solo chains on the mole. So the vision of Substrate is to be the backbone of the Polkadot ecosystem. It's kind of like the SDK for any team jumping in and looking to build chains that connect to Polkadot and utilize the shared security of Polkadot. They can always use Substrate. In terms of technology, Substrate there are 4 keywords, right? It's flexible, it's open, it's interoperable, and it's future-proof. How is it flexible? Substrate is it's kind of a framework that has many palette options. So what you can do is you can pick and choose which palettes that you need and plug into the runtime of Substrate. And then that's how you can customize your own chains. Open in a way that is Substrate is fully open source. So Parity and Polkadot and Substrate, they are committed to Web3 values, and one of those being transparency and open source. Substrate is a fully open source repo on GitHub that anyone can jump in, utilize it, and optimize it and contribute to it. Interoperable in the way that Substrate has built-in XCM feature. And what that means is that you can use it to connect to the chains that are building on Polkadot itself via XCM. So you can exchange message, you can transfer from one chain to another seamlessly and securely. Last but not least, future-proof. Future-proof in a sense that it's upgradable without a hard fork. In other words, forkless upgrading, right? If you are in the Polkadot ecosystem, you may have heard about this kind of idea of forkless upgrading. Substrate is the base technology that allows that to happen. You don't have to hard fork the whole chain in order to upgrade something. It's very seamless and it's very easy. Last but not least, the Substrate ecosystem, there are currently more than 80 parachains using Substrate that are built on Polkadot and parachains. And other than that, there are around 50 to 60 solo chains using Substrate, but not plugging into Polkadot and Kusama yet. So what you can see is that Substrate is a very widely adopted technology, and it's widely utilized by teams that are looking to build layer one blockchains. So blockchains are on Polkadot in particular, and blockchains using Substrate in general are custom built and optimized for specific uses. So what it means is that these are several examples of the frame palettes that Substrate offers. You can see like assets, Babe, balances, election, staking, treasury, etc. So these are the palettes that are available within Substrate. And imagine that these palettes are Lego pieces that are offered to you, and you, as a builder of a layer one blockchain, you want to build your own chain with your specific use case. Maybe you want to build a chain that is focused on NFTs. You want to build a chain that is focused on metaverse, or another one want to build a chain is just focusing on DeFi. So you don't need election, you only need staking, and you want to have a palette that is EVM compatible so that you can bring in liquidity and users from the EVM ecosystem and use bridges, etc. So whatever you need, you pick and choose those pieces and plug into your own runtime. And after that, you run your own chains, and it's very kind of customizable and tailored to your own needs, right? And if you are a builder and you're in the ecosystem and you find that there are actually no palettes that are suited to your own needs, you can develop your own palette and then post it into the marketplace, the so-called Substrate marketplace, and then everybody can make use of that if they come later and they see that there's a need for that, right? One example is that the Moonbeam team, when they came into the Substrate ecosystem, they found out that there hasn't been a palette that is EVM compatible. So they built their own EVM compatible palette called Frontier. And that's the palette that they use to plug into Moonbeam chain to make Moonbeam EVM compatible. And it being one of the biggest EVM compatible parachain in the Polkadot ecosystem. So that is a brief introduction of Substrate. And it is a very powerful tool in order for blockchains to be built, and without having to build everything from scratch again. So there's a framework for you to just pick and choose, pull and plug, and that only takes about 30 minutes and a MacBook actually to build a Substrate chain that it's usable. And I think, let me jump out for a moment and show you